To consider, there's our recording. To consider notice to repair number 1197603 and notice of violation and abatement order number 1246788. The notices are regarding an unpermitted encroachment obstructing the public right-of-way along Fielding Street placed by the property owner of 5-11 Fielding Street. Second item is hearing order number 209018 to consider the notice to repair number 1233094 and notice of violation and abatement order number 1242145. The notice is regarding unpermitted encroachments and an unpermitted curb cut at 1535 Van Dyke Avenue. The third item is hearing order number 208955 to consider a request from the property owner of 79-81 Homestead Street for a minor sidewalk encroachment permit to construct one new warped driveway, 8 feet 11 inches wide, with a set of railings 36 inches high on either side, all extending out 3 foot 9 inches into the public right-of-way along Homestead Street, fronting the subject property, 79-81 Homestead Street. My job as a hearing officer is to gather the facts for the hearing item, listen to your testimonies, and help our Director of Public Works make determinations. I will not be making any decisions today. Instead, I will forward the findings from this hearing and make my recommendations to the Director. The Director will make the final determinations. When the Director's determinations are made, the Department will notify you of them if you have provided contact information. The hearing will proceed as follows for the 3 cases. I will ask Public Works staff to present the case. Then I will allow the property owner to speak. Then any member of the public or witness who wishes to speak. Then the department can address any comments. And same for the property owner. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes. The clerk will monitor the time for all speakers and indicate when the speaker has 30 seconds left. If you are a party to this proceeding, I will call on you to speak, or Clinton will nominate you. If you would like to use visual materials in your presentation, please make sure Clinton has them. You will still have the standard 3 minutes to provide your comments. If you're a member of the public who wants to speak, please raise your hand or dial in. I believe it says *9, but if you have any issues, just ask Clint for help. Comments and questions should be addressed to me and not to the department or the applicant. If you cannot finish your comments within the allotted time, you may submit written testimony to me by the end of this hearing. If I feel that a question is warranted, I will ask the question. After all comments are completed, I will close the item. We will now begin the hearing. At this time, we will open the hearing to public comments. Members of the public may make comments on matters that are within the department's jurisdiction, but are not on today's agenda. Are there any public comments?
We have a hand raised from Mr. King. Let me go ahead and unmute.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Should I speak now? Am I on the clock?
Well, no,
sorry,
not yet. Yeah, no, it's
review.
okay. It's okay, sir.
Okay.
We will have the agenda up on the screen in a second, and when they
Okay.
call your item, then and then I will unmute you like I just did. So you'll be prompted. Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Does
you very
anybody
much.
else? No problem. Does anybody else have any for the first item, which is public comment? Okay.
Okay. If there are no comments for this item, then we will proceed. The first item on today's agenda is order number 208948. May I please have Public Works make their presentation.
Good morning, hearing officer. My name is Sid Lazama. I'm a street inspector with the Bureau of Street Use and Mapping, Department of Public Works. How can I share the PowerPoint presentation that I have ready?
Sid, if it's in there, if it's in the folder, I can share it for you. If you'd like to present, just hit the share button, share screen. There you go. Excellent.
Okay, I'm here to present for order 208-948 in regards to 5 to 11 Fielding Street. This came to us through 311 via request for action 214-37787. So the initial notice to repair, which we posted in July 28th of 2020, 119-7603. That was the initial posting, mailed the following day. The second notice, the final, which is a 15-day notice, was done June 14th of 2021. By the time it reached the accelerated sidewalk and abatement program for abatement, it was posted on, which is 124-6788. That was posted November 20th of 2023. Following slides show some applicable codes. In particular, section 706 of the Public Works Code, I highlighted here, the responsibilities of the property owner shall include the removal of any unpermitted structure. In this case, it is the fence on Fielding Street. Some more information on unaccepted streets. And this is just an illustration of the overview of the map. As you can see, the property in question is here along Stockton Street and Fielding. Fielding Street is an unaccepted street that goes all the way along the 500 block to 566 on Lombard Street, the rear of 2032 Powell Street, and also along the 401 to 469 portion of Chestnut Street. Here's an aerial view with, as you can see, the vegetation. This is here we have timestamp photos of the initial posting for the back in July of 2020. Here's the notice. There is the fence in question. Here we can see a copy of the notice that was mailed to the property owner. The initial notice 119-7603. Again, initial notice was July 27th of 2020. The second notice, June 14th, 2021. Here's a copy of the ASAP, the abatement notice, 124-6788 from November 20th of 23. We also have received 5 duplicate requests for the same fence dating back from 2018 to recent. And here are more timestamp photos of the condition initially when we posted, July of 2020. It's the frontage of 5 to 11 Fielding Street. You can see where Fielding turns in there. And then this is slide photos of the second posting, June 14th of 2021. The fence is still there. And more recent photo, the posting that was done on the 20th, November 20th of 2023. That concludes the photos and information. I believe the department is just asking for the fence to be removed in accordance to the code. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have the property owner?
It looks like we have Mr. Moore. Go ahead and speak. Go ahead and unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. I wrote something quickly and then I have a few things I want to add. I placed the gate for safety purposes on Fielding. I was told the Fielding was not a street that was accepted by the city and that it was my responsibility to maintain it. Safety has always been a huge problem on Fielding. People commonly use it as a bathroom, drugged in, place for sex, and a possible entry for all adjacent buildings. Even with the gate up, people try to steal packages to this day. At first, I tried lighting on Fielding. This did not stop the activity. The gate has significantly reduced the bad behavior and increased safety. When the gate was installed, I distributed keys to the adjacent neighbors. I gave a key to everyone that requested one. My intent is safety only. I'd like to move forward by addressing the concerns for the complaining party and get the gate approved or permitted. At this point, I believe most, if not all, that want access have keys. If this can't be resolved, I'll know that I've done all that I can to protect the neighbors that are back there. I will take the gate down if ordered to do so, and then we'll all bear the ramifications. I think we should move forward and try to address what I believe is just one individual's concern about the gate. And just a couple of notes on Sid's presentation. It appears that Fielding goes all the way back, and it does on your maps. The Fielding actually stops at my other building that I own that is behind this, and it ends and it drops about 8 to 10 feet, which is another safety concern. And then everybody behind that basically uses Fielding as their backyards. They've basically taken Fielding together all the way down to the end. A lot of my tenants asked me to put something up front so people couldn't even access any of Fielding. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to keep them away from the back where people seem to be gathering to do all of this activity. I don't have a problem, taking the lock off this thing. My intent is not to keep people that legitimately want to go back there and do something in the space. I don't know what they would do, or to keep neighbors out. It is simply safety. We've had some incidences back there that, just shouldn't take place, but unfortunately we're in San Francisco and that happens. It's my understanding that people have been allowed to put some types of barriers on some of these unpermitted spaces or unaccepted spaces. I'd like to be able to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and I'm sorry, in addition to that, I did hire somebody, and some of the delay was, I believe he was speaking to somebody at Public Works about this. I had hired somebody to try to permit this, and I think he just let it fall through the cracks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other public comments on this before we go back to Public Works?
Okay, we have a couple hands up. Go ahead and Mr. Droby, I'm sorry. Go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity to comment. I wanted to comment on this order. So just a little background about me. So my name is Eric Drobe, and I reside at 1943 Stockton Street, along with my wife, Catherine Casey. We moved in the early fall. So as I mentioned, we're tenants right now residing in 1943 Stockton Street, which we access through the gate that is the subject of this hearing. I wanted to comment on this because should this gate be removed, our security and safety would be more at risk than usual for a few reasons. So first, 1943 Stockton is a small cottage with exposed street level windows. It's got a patio without a fence. It's got a wraparound porch also without any sort of security. Aside from the gate on Fielding Street and locks on our front door and our side door, there is no security gate or door to prevent anyone from coming onto the property and doing what they please. Second, 1943 Stockton is part of a property which includes a preschool directly adjacent to and below the cottage we rent. That too is not protected by any locked gate or fence, putting the safety of children and preschool staff at risk. Third, our neighbors at 5 Fielding, also tenants, similarly live in a unit with ground level windows without any significant protection. Fourth, beyond the gate, 1943 Stockton and 5 Fielding are the only residences whose main entrances front what remains of Fielding Street, which by no means is a throughway, just to the point that Brian made earlier. Having no gate leaves us conspicuously vulnerable as a result. Even with the gate in place on numerous occasions, we have seen strangers attempt to open the gate or climb around it to steal packages or for reasons unknown. Because of the gate, though, most of these attempts have not been successful. So just to wrap up, Fielding Street terminates at the edge of the unit we lease, so we don't understand what public right-of-way this gate infringes on. Removing the gate would only put at risk the safety and security of residents at 1943 Stockton, 5 Fielding, preschool children and staff, and others without a fence or a gate to discourage trespassers. So we do implore the city not to order the removal of a gate, a gate which helps keep our neighbors and us safe. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on this order.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have someone logged in as admin. If you'd state your name, if you want to have that to go on record, and then unmute yourself.
Morning. Hi. Yes, my name is Steve Williams, and I'm one of the folks who filed a complaint on this matter. This gate violates so many provisions of the code. It's hard to know where to start. It violates several provisions of the Public Works Code. It was constructed without notice, without permits. It violates the building code. It violates the planning code. It violates the general plan. It violates the priority policies of the general plan. It violates the police code, and it violates the fire code. You hear Mr. Moore, who erected this thing in the middle of the pandemic, basically in the middle of the night in secret, by who knows what means, since there's no permits in any agency to erect this thing. And he's had 6 years to legalize it and has simply not done so. It's a taking of public property for private use. There's essentially a parking lot that's been created in the public street. I hear the objections, but there's a proper way to do things. And he said he'd like to be able to keep the gate. Well, what has stopped him for the last 6 years? There's a proper way. If the street is going to be vacated and returned to private ownership, those steps could have been started many, many years ago. There's no exception to these laws for a claim of safety. I mean, everyone would be safer if they fenced off their public street. And there are a myriad of legal cases where people tried to fence off their public street and we're told that they cannot do that. The houses back there are no more vulnerable than everybody else's home who sits on the street. And so this long delay has to come to an end. If you're going to be granted an encroachment of this size, you have to pay the city for it. You have to purchase the property. You have to go through channels. You can't just appear and block off the public street. And that's what happened here. This gate actually represents a danger to public safety. If one of those buildings that fronts on Fielding and has access virtually only from Fielding catches fire, the fire department will not be able to access them through Lombard or Chestnut. It's just too far to go. They'd have too many fences to climb. So it's a fire hazard. If the police had to get back there, there's no way for them to get back there either.
30 seconds.
And so, this site has been posted as final notice at least 3 times. There was a enforcement interruption due to COVID, but other than that, as Mr. Moore said, this slipped through the cracks. Boy, has it ever slipped through the cracks. A fence across the public street and the sidewalk for 6 years. I'm urging the officer to decide the only thing that can be decided here, which is to remove
thank you,
this
sir.
gate immediately. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other comment? If so, please raise your hand.
Okay, if there are no additional comments, Public Works, do you have a response to the property owner? Or any of the public comments?
Doesn't look like it. Okay.
All right, well, then property owner, do you have any comments on the public commentary?
What's that?
If you, yep,
Uh,
there we
there.
go.
Are you there?
Yes.
Hello? Sorry about
We
that.
can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, beside all the underlying things going on with Mr. Williams, which, my intent is truly safety. And I'm going to make a phone call today, and I'll have the lock off of that gate, which gives everybody access. I don't stop the right of way at that point. Anybody can enter at any point, but it does stop, I think, people that would normally go back there and want to do things that are inappropriate from getting in there. So that handles the public safety component of it. I still want to move forward. Again, with COVID, I got stopped on so many different things. I own property in a lot of different places, and it's difficult when you're trying to keep up with safety at all of those places, particularly in San Francisco. Now, I agree I should move forward with getting this permitted, and I'm happy to do that. Again, I did hire somebody to do that. I think with COVID and all the delays, that was definitely a factor. I just kind of let it go because I hadn't heard about it, which is on me. But I'm happy to move forward. I don't know that any of Mr. Williams' concerns can ever be addressed, though, although it would be nice if they could, but I'm not sure that they could be. He is beyond fielding on the area that drops off significantly. I know he has plans to put a home there, and I have no intention of blocking him from doing that. He has a key, as a matter of fact, and he's had a key for a majority of this time. As soon as he requested one, he was given one. When I put the gate up, I was not aware actually that he was going to be building back there. So anyway, that's my final comment.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, presenters. There are no more comments for this item. I will close the item and we will continue. Second item on today's agenda is order number 209018. May I please have Public Works make their presentation.
Good morning, hearing officer. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me know if you see it. Do I have it up on the screen?
Yeah, it's visible
Looks
now.
good.
All right. I'm here to present. My name is Wooji Chung. I am a street inspection supervisor with Public Works. I'm here to present order number 209018. It's for the address at 1535 Van Dyke Avenue. The original on the slide shown in front of us is the original complaint number and pertinent information associated with the address.
The notice to repair that was issued to the property was 1233094. We had posted the property on January 19th of 2023 with the letter mailed the following week on January 26th. An additional inspection occurred on July 18th, 2023, and also mailed the same day. Because it was outstanding and not resolved, it was escalated to our accelerated sidewalk abatement program for abatement, and we had posted on August 29th of 23 and mail certified on the following day. Here's some applicable codes pertaining to this address and to this violation. I have the highway code and public works code 706. Kind of went over that on the previous order, but just to kind of reiterate, it's just stating that the responsibility of the sidewalk is the responsibility of the adjacent property owner. 706, here's just some more information. Basically, just to show the highlighted section that the duty of the property owner to remove any unpermitted structure. San Francisco Police Code states that it's unlawful to obstruct the passage of any street or sidewalk. I'll get to this later, but here's another section of the Public Works Code that says you cannot destroy any landscape or landscape materials is prohibited. Here's our code section in regards to minor sidewalk encroachments, and it does include fences. More codes just regarding excavation, basically saying that, hey, there are permits required to excavate in the city of San Francisco. Just here's a section just showing outlining the violations that a permit is required. California Vehicle Code, basically just again, another section saying that cannot use the sidewalk or any public right of or the sidewalk as to park your vehicle. This is a parcel map from our system, which shows the address in question, which is 1535 Van Dyke, outlined in red. Here is the original key map, or official parcel map showing. I know it's kind of small to see, but the official public right of way here, well, that's from the sidewalk width is from the curb face going toward the property boundary is 15 feet wide. Again, here's this block map showing where in relation it is in the block. Here's a photo of a Google Maps photo in 2019 showing what the property looked like. You can see the landscaped area in front of the purple house. Here is a photo of Google Maps in 2022 where the landscaped area has been removed and it looks like some of the concrete work has been done to the sidewalk. And a more recent photo in 2023 with the fence or gate erected around the property, which is encroaching into the public right of way. Also, please note that there is in this photo, you can see that a driveway curb cut has been installed as part of the concrete work in the public right of way. Upon research, we just found, we see that the property was up for sale at one point. Here's just some real estate information showing the history of it being listed and also being removed. The original posting that was posted onto the gate in January of last year. There's some additional photos of the gate in question. The follow-up inspection on July 18th of 23, showing that the condition still existed, of which the gate is encroaching into the right-of-way. The posted notice. It's just a copy of the notice that was issued initially. Here is our follow-up abatement inspection in August of 23. showing that it continued to exist out there. The posted notice. This is just the remarks that we write on the posted notice. On the screen in front of you are the each one of these are individual complaints submitted to us from the public regarding the gate out there. Our system shows that based at one point there was a street improvement permit that has been applied for, but it was never approved. Notes in between showing that there has been communication to the property owner here that the gate would not be allowed, and the driveway curb cut that was created is to be removed and was never approved. Also additional notes just stating that the permit has also never been, or the application has never been paid for. That concludes my statement. Thank you, hearing officer.
Thank you for your presentation. Is the property owner present?
Okay, we have our hand up. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Mr. King, I believe. Okay.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank also Uju, who's been very professional. My issue is not with him, but someone called in, and I pretty much know who called in. This person is just a very hateful person. Before I put this, I'll deal with the fence first. Before I put this fence up, my house, it was for safety reasons. My house is a block away from Mother Brown's. You have all kind of people walking down, and I'm not against the homeless. I'm not against feeding the hungry, but you have people from all around the city that walks down this street. And as you can look at my home here, you can walk before that fence was put up. You can literally walk up and look right through the window. Okay. Debris, every day I have to pick up trash, needles, condoms, God knows, diapers. People would, excuse my French, would shit right there on the lawn. And so I borrowed money. I took a loan out to put this fence up. And I'm saying right now, they said that fence was impeding on someone walking down the street. And that's just simply not true. Because if that fence is impeding on someone walking down the street, then the fence right next, my next door neighbor at 1527, has a fence also. Why am I receiving this special treatment here about this fence? That fence serves as safety. And I'm telling you, my house has been broken in, and you can go on record twice. My house has been broken in. And I'm saying to you right now, my house is the only house that you can walk up and look right through on the first floor and look right through the living room and see everything if the curtains are not closed. I like to keep my curtains open, but I've had literally people to walk right up and look right through the window, strangers. I mean, to take, human feces right in front of my home before I will put
1
this.
minute.
Okay. And so, and far as the curbside, I really want you to do an investigation. I'm not a contractor, but this was signed off by the planning department, the building department, and DPW approved this curbside. I spent over $50,000 in putting this work in. I tried to do it the right way. And only thing I had to do was at that time, the permits were $900 some, and I didn't have the funds at that time to pay for it. I'm asking you to do an investigation because the work was approved to put the curbside in. It was approved by the planning department, DPW, and the building department. All three signed off to approve the curbside. And so I'm asking for you to do an investigation because it was done. And I hired a contractor to do it. And the only thing I had to do was to pay for the permit. So I'm asking you to please consider. And not only that, I'm facing
Thank you, Mr. King.
foreclosure. You know, for God's sakes, man,
Mr.
I'm
King,
facing
time's up.
foreclosure right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any comments from the public?
Okay, doesn't look like anyone's hands up.
Okay. Then Public Works, do we have any response to the owner's comments?
I have no further response. Thank you, hearing officer.
Okay. Then thank you very much. We will consider this item closed. Moving on to our third item, order number 208955. Public Works, please proceed.
Hello, can you hear me all right? Is my mic working?
Yeah, we can hear you.
And can you share the file that I put in the folder, please?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Let me
Thank
go
you.
ahead and pull that up now. That is
The PowerPoint presentation.
I gotcha. Okay, can everyone see it all right?
Yeah.
Does that look
Yeah, looks
good?
good.
Okay,
Yes.
1 second. Let me get it to the. Okay. Is that good?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Hey, hello, I'm Shannon from Bureau of Streets and Mapping. I'm a plan checker and engineer. I'll be presenting on PW Order 208955 for a new warp driveway encroachment at 7981 Homestead Street. This application came in March of last year with a street improvement and a minor side encroachment combination. It associated with building permit 2021-05120274 for a remodel of the existing building, which also consisted of a new garage and a new curb cut. Next page. I think next page is a project site photo, the 981 Homestead. And the next sheet. These are the final plans that I've reviewed. You can see there is a new warped driveway along the property line, 3 feet 9 inches, with 2 railings on both sides to mitigate unsafe warping, any tripping hazards. There's also a new curb cut along the curb, which is per standard 10 feet, 3 feet wide. So during my review, I've concluded that the encroachment does meet our 2510 requirement, which allows up to 25% width of encroachment of the sidewalk, which is 15, so 3 feet 9 meets that requirement, as well as the area, which is 10% area. It's a little under 10%, so that meets our requirement as well. As part of our application process, we do notification to get any comments from the public within 150 feet. We did receive 2 official objections with this proposal. Main concerns include the potential conflict with a existing sewer lateral that runs from the adjacent property, 85 Homestead Street. This lateral services that property and runs across the property at 7981 into a cleanout. I think the next page should show some photos of that. Yeah, so you can see the green line is an approximate location of the lateral in question. Another concern that was brought up was the retaining wall under the black fence. There's about 9 feet dip down. They raised a concern that if it's demolished for the warped driveway, it might undermine the soil and compaction supporting the lateral. And this party has requested for the plans to show the exact location of the pseudolateral alignment, as well as have notes indicating any mitigation plans. Doing next page. Unfortunately, the exact location and alignment of the pseudolateral is unknown, just because the permits that were obtained by the 85 Homestead Street didn't require plans for the called out scope of work. Additionally, the approximate location could not be agreed upon between either parties. They've had a few correspondence via email the past few weeks. However, the permittee believes that the pseudolateral starts at 7 feet below ground. You can see on the left picture, that's from the building connection, and then up and then goes in the sidewalk with the required 4 feet minimum clearance from the vent. So with that vertical clearance, they believe that it shouldn't affect the utility in question. Yeah, and that concludes my presentation.
Okay, so I have a clarification question. Has Grand Engineering radar or any other means been attempted to locate the sewer lateral?
I do not believe so.
Has the property owner given any explanation for why or why not such efforts have been made?
I believe I've been with the photos that they provided, it should be enough.
Okay, because the underlying question is, if this has been going on for some time, including back and forth about a hearing, it doesn't take that long to update plans if they have the information. Okay, just clarifying that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do we have the property owner?
Sorry, go ahead, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas, you had your hand up. Mr. Thomas, you had your hand up. And please go ahead and speak. We cannot hear you, Mr. Thomas. If you are trying to speak, just go ahead and you're unmuted and you're allowed to speak. So we're just waiting on you to go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you.
You said you had materials to share.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 second, please. So that way we get you get the right amount of time.
Thank you.
Okay, so you'll be prompted to go to a panelist. Okay, you should be able to share whatever documents, and I'll go ahead and start the clock now. Go ahead.
We can see the first slide. Please proceed.
Can you see the slide?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and reset the clock. We could not. You were muted. So go ahead and we see the slide. You're ready to go. Go.
Okay, thank you. Thanks to Shannon for the overview. My name's Mark Thomas. I'm the project architect for this minor sidewalk encroachment. This is an overview of the Homestead Street, and it's provided by PUC that shows the approximate locations of all the sewer lines on the street. For some reason, when the sewer was replaced at 85, it jogs over in front of 79 Homestead, like the red line shows. Next slide, please. This is a photograph of the front of the building And the red line approximates the position of the sewer line, and the green area approximates the location of the proposed minor sidewalk encroachment. Next slide. This is a photograph that Shannon showed that it's the one verifiable point where we can see the sewer lateral running down below grade at about 7 feet below the sidewalk level. Next slide. This next picture shows the sewer line being installed. It's kind of difficult to see way down in the pit, but there's a black pipe down there, and this orange and white pipe approximates the location of the sewer line. The green area shows the area of the proposed encroachment. Next slide. This is a section through the sidewalk. This little pink area is the area that we're planning to remove and warp the driveway. So the overall encroachment goes down about 9 inches from its existing position at the center line of the driveway. So a little less on the north side, a little more on the south side. We think the sewer pipe is down in this area here.
1 minute.
Somewhere. Thank you. Next slide, please. This is a plan view of the same thing. The red area shows where we're proposing to remove about 18 inches of the retaining wall. This yellow area shows the structural engineer's reinforcement of the back of that wall, and then 3 new retaining walls to be placed in the area of the driveway. So the area of red retaining wall will no longer function as a retaining wall because there will be dirt on each side of the wall. So back to this photo, this soil and this soil are now back of each other. So the retaining wall in that area is no longer acting as a retaining wall. And finally, we think that pipe exits out about here and then comes along over about through the middle of this set of squares and then out to the street. That concludes my presentation, and
Okay.
we're available for questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any public comments?
Okay, at this time, there are no hands up. So
Okay. Public Works, do we have any response?
I have nothing to add.
oh, wait a minute, we have a hand up. The person with the phone. And we also.
Okay, I'm back unmuted again. Unmuted.
We can hear you.
Okay, good. All right. Thanks to Mr. Thomas for providing the drawings. Can I please share so I can show the same?
Yes,
my
and this,
drawings
is this Mr. Bethel?
It is.
Okay.
Join as panelists.
I believe you did mute yourself, and then go ahead and share the screen when I'll start the clock when you get your, there we go.
Okay, and you can hear me? I'm unmuted?
Yes, you're unmuted. I'm going to start the clock.
Okay. Thanks to Mr. Thomas for providing the drawings. We asked for drawings in advance of the hearing, and I think if we'd had these drawings, we might not have needed a hearing. The owner said that they weren't, no more drawings were going to be provided, and now they're here. Our request is that the permit be conditioned on having an engineering solution for protecting the sewer pipe. And it appears that the new drawings do a good job of doing that. the situation here is that between 1956 and 1965, the south half of Homestead Street was re-engineered. Paving stones were taken up. Retaining walls were built on the east side of the street. About 6 or 7 feet of fill was added, and the sewer connections were confirmed. So at some point, the city and the owners of these two properties decided that it was better to have a single sewer cut than two. Adding a second sewer cut to implement a green direct connection between 85 Homestead and the street would cost $80,000 or $100,000 because of the city engineering involved, and nobody wants to pay for that. The plumber has the best recollection of where the sewer pipe really is because he did the work. And there's a couple of different versions that Mark has given of where the pipe is. In the last thing that he said, he put it in the second square here, which is the same place that we have it drawn. All of the issues that we're currently facing have to do with this photograph right here, the partial excavation photo. And when I looked at it again today and zoomed in on it, I was much more concerned about the position of the sewer pipe than I was much more concerned about the position of the sewer pipe than I had been previously, because when you zoom in on this photo, you can't really tell whether that's the Y connector or the north-south line. You don't know exactly how far from the retaining wall it is, but it looks like it's only 2 feet or maybe 2.5 feet underneath the sidewalk. It looks like it's really, really shallow, not 7 feet deep. Now, from the photo that the architect showed at the retaining wall, the hill slopes substantially down. And so it's entirely possible that it's 7 feet at one side of the lot and 2 feet at the other side. But there's a real substantial concern as to just how shallow this pipe is. Given the new drawings and the architect's newfound willingness to specify how this is going to be done, if they locate the pipe and they take appropriate steps, then this encroachment is perfectly what the planning commission's already approved. It should go forward.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up.
Okay.
All right, do we have any other public comments?
Okay, there are no hands up at this time.
Okay, I have a clarifying question for Shannon. Has BSM received plans that include mitigation concerns if the pipe is found?
No, I have not.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any response to the public comments?
Nothing to add.
Okay. Property owner?
Hi, thanks, Mark Thomas again. Before, we believe that the reason the pipe looks a little shallower at the north or down slope end is because the sidewalk slopes laterally from south to north. We don't believe that, can I share screen, please? Is it possible for me to share my screen, please? Thank you.
Yes, you should get a prompt here in a second.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you okay.
Thank you. This slide number 2 shows the approximate location of the MSE versus where we think the pipe is. Please go to slide number 4. And because of that, we don't have any concerns. However, when the general contractor starts construction, before he starts construction, all of the utilities will be properly located to make sure that we know where everything is. And could you please go to slide 7? And this is a quick representation from the structural engineer's drawings that are a part of the construction package that shows the reinforcement of that wall at the area of the driveway. Could you go back to slide number 4? Thanks. So that concludes my response. I think that because the contractor will locate the utilities before he starts, everything will be done to make sure that no damage occurs to anything. And that's fairly standard practice at a pre-construction conference with DBI and with the general contractor. Thank you.
Okay, so am I to understand there are no mitigating or no efforts to mitigate if the pipe turns out to be where or closer to the project than anticipated?
At this moment, at this point, no. The homeowner did reach out to Steve Pinelli at PUC, and if there is mitigation necessary, Steve Pinelli at DBI, if there's any mitigation that's necessary, it can be handled as soon as it's discovered.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. All right, we will consider this item closed. Do we have any comments from anyone who came in during the meeting who has not had an opportunity to speak already?
Okay, there are no hands up at this time.
Okay, thank you everybody for participating in this hearing. We are going to consider this hearing closed.
Okay, so apologize, Ms. Dawes, that we did not, we closed this out. So we are officially reopening the hearing, and would the Ms. Dawes, would you please go ahead and speak, or you may need to unmute your phone. Did we lose Ms. Dawes? Where did you go, Ms. Dawes? There she goes.
Looks like she's back.
Okay, she's back. Ms. Dawes? Ms. Dawes, if you're there, go ahead and speak. Go ahead and unmute your phone.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this Ms. Dawes?
Okay. I'm trying to say that I was there when they put it in. This pipe was there. I had to fix the lateral because they had to put a pipe inside it. It comes out exactly where 79, you know, the side steps that go down to the backyard, that's where it begins. It comes out, it's only down less than 2 feet under the ground. And then it goes straight in front of her house and left. It makes 2 right-hand turns. The drawing by the contractor where he drew the Atlas Plumbing, where they drew the pipe, it is going to be affected by a driveway, as is her lateral. Her lateral is connected to that same thing. So if they have to fix her lateral, my lateral is part of it, because it's going to be right where the driveway goes. It's not down 9 feet. That's all I can say. It's going to be affected. If they find that it's not going to be, that's different. But her lateral is going to be affected as well. So, just saying.
Okay.
Thank
you for your comments. One last time, do we have any additional public comments?
Does anybody want to raise their hand? We jumped ahead a little bit last time, so we don't want to close the hearing without anyone. One more time, anyone? Please raise your hand if you'd like to speak before we close out the hearing. Okay, I think we've given it enough time. Ian, if you want to go ahead and call it one more time.
Okay, once again, thank you everyone for participating in this hearing. If we have no additional comments at this time, we will consider this hearing closed.
Thank you.